Yo guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Jay's Garage. Today we're taking a quick look at the Zone upper control arms for my 4th gen Ram 1500. Let's go ahead and check these things out. Alright, so here's how they come packaged. Not a very exceptional package as far as I'm concerned. The arms are not individually wrapped. Just a little bit of paper in between them. There we go. Both arms. Not wrapped, just some paper in between them in a box. This is how it was delivered onto my front porch. So I found a lot of data on the internet that pointed to these arms being a good choice, and I had a few things that I was concerned about when it came to placing an order on these control arms. But let me first talk about what appealed to me about these arms. So I wanted something stronger. These stronger than OEM, that is, and these check off that box. I wanted something that was going to give me geometry correction for sitting at about a 2.5 inch ride height increase in the front. That's another thing that these arms are able to accomplish. I wanted a ball joint with a little bit more range of motion and possibly stronger than OEM, which these ball joints should check that off. I wanted to go ball joint instead of a uniball because a ball joint is just a better choice for an on-road vehicle. A uniball is just going to require more maintenance to keep it quiet, and it's just not going to isolate as much of vibration and stuff like that as well as a ball joint will. A ball joint is just better for a road-driven vehicle than a uniball. A uniball is a better choice for something that is just going to often get abused off-road or something that you're going to race. I also didn't want an arm that I had to grease every single point on it. I like that these have this rubber-style bushing like the OEM, so I'm happy with that. The only thing you have to grease is the ball joint. I really didn't even want a greasable ball joint, to be honest. It just it's not necessarily proven that it's going to last any longer because it's greasable, but at least it's only one thing. On my daily driven vehicle, I definitely want to reduce the amount of grease points that I have. I mean, when they come from the factory these days, they don't even have greasable parts, and they last quite a while before they need replacing. So I would rather just not have to hit a bunch of grease points. On my Jeep, I had some like 40 grease points after I had upgraded it, and that's something I just didn't want to deal with on a vehicle that, especially a vehicle that I maintain myself. And you know, these call for like every 3,000 miles that you grease them, and you could probably go a little bit longer, but you don't want to really go too much longer than that if you want max life out of them. Another thing that these checked off for me was the price point. These are a little bit more of like a mid-range option. They're certainly not cheap, but they're certainly not the most expensive upper control arm out there. Upper control arms can oftentimes go up to $800 or even more if you get really fancy ones, but I would say the premium end is like $800, $850, and then there's these which are around the $500 price point. You can find them anywhere from like $470 to $560. And then there's some much cheaper options like Mevo Tech, I think it's called. You can get a pair of those for like 160 bucks. They're definitely not as robust as something like this, but you know, there's something that's said to be stronger than OEM, and that might be an upgrade path as well. And there's a bunch of stuff in between that $200 price point and $500 price point, and some of it you're just kind of taking your chances with. Some of it you know you're getting lower quality, and you gotta figure out what works for you. These upper control arm options are pretty plentiful these days. There's a lot out there, both ball joint and uniball, so choose wisely. One last thing that was appealing to me about these arms is I wanted to make sure whatever arms I got had replaceable ball joints. I wanted the company to show me a part available to replace this, so when it does wear out, I have something to go to. Some of the other brands don't offer a replacement and don't seem to tell you what a replacement is, and I don't want a throwaway upper control arm that's supposed to be an upgrade. I want something that I can replace the ball joint And fortunately, Zone does offer replacement ball joints right on their website. So these are some of the reasons that I went with the Zone control arms. I didn't quite want to pony up for the $800 upper control arms, so here I am at the $500 price point. Now let me talk about what I'm not quite satisfied with when it comes to these Zone control arms. The thing that I was worried about when I ordered these right away was the weld quality. Customer pictures, I had noticed that the welds were just like either not even all the way on the seams, or they were just not very good looking in general, and I was really concerned about that. You know, and then I did see some pictures where the welds look fine. So I was hoping that maybe that was like an early issue with these arms, and at this point they have ironed out the process, and they, you know, and hopefully they were making a much greater quality arm. So after I finally pulled the trigger and got these in, I found that, you know, the Zone control arms, they're just not an arm where you can tell that they were made with a great degree of workmanship. These arms are just, they're just something that they seem to be cranking out. They really don't give a crap about the overall product. They probably just care that the geometry is there for the most part, and that the weld is enough in place for them to meet their seemingly minimalistic quality control. And I mean, these are heavy arms. They're no doubtably going to be stronger than the OEM arms, but just by looking at them, you can tell that they're just not a quality looking part. They just, whoever's making them just doesn't seem to care how good they look. And it's just unfortunate. They just have these like goobery looking welds with a lot of inconsistency to them. It's like they don't even try to make them similar. This arm, you know, looks acceptable, doesn't look spectacular. And then it's like you come over to this arm and you're like, oh, okay, things can get worse, and they are worse. And these are two arms that were shipped together. It's like, man, I can't even have a left and a right arm that looks similar enough. This is a $500 part, you know, this isn't, granted I didn't go to like the flagship of upper control arms, but I also didn't buy some $150, $200 upper control arms, so it'd be nice if there just wasn't all these goobery welds all over the place. The one with the goobery welds has like all kinds of spatter on it. Some more spatter over here. They weren't packaged very well. The arms themselves weren't even wrapped. They're just exposed like this with a little bit of paper in between them, so they're just clanking off of each other during shipment. So there's a few areas that need some paint retouched on them so that they don't rust on my vehicle. Honestly, when I pulled these out of the box, my initial reaction was I'm going to return these damn things because I'm just not quite satisfied with the way they look. And honestly, at this point, I'm still on the fence about returning them. But I really think I might just run them anyways and see how they do. Because it's I hate to say it, but it's not going to be something I'm constantly looking at on my truck. But yeah, it looks like these arms are going to do the job, but they're definitely not going to win any brownie points whatsoever for the way they look. Just very messy welds, very disappointing overall. And, you know, that's the end of the rant, guys. Alright guys, so these arms may or may not be going on my truck. I'm about to be doing a full suspension overhaul on the front of my 4th Gen Ram 1500. I have the Bilstein 6112s going in the front, and everything's going to get a refresh. There's going to be some install follow-up videos on this. There's going to be some ride quality and various updates on the upper control arm setup and the Bilstein shocks that I'm going with. If you guys want to see more, come back to Jay's Garage, hit subscribe. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, please. But I'm gonna be figuring out here really soon if these control arms are going on my truck or if I'm gonna switch to something different. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Am I being too picky about these? Is this what I should expect for $500 upper control arms? Or do you think there should be a higher degree of workmanship here? Let me know what you guys think below. Till next time. Peace.